At TACO, we celebrate Independence Day with the assembly and all this stuff. It's not meant to be a long assembly, but it is meant to be something where we can take a few minutes to think about Independence Day, what it means, and maybe tying it to camp life. Two things that are worth mentioning regarding the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So one, the Founding Fathers were clear that they wanted to form a more perfect union. And notice they didn't say perfect union. That's because they were practical people and they knew the limitations of government and the limitations of regular society. So rather than trying to be perfect, it was really about trying to be just better than you were the day before, or always striving to be better than you are. The second part of it is, remember, they were fearful of government, they were fearful of politicians in general, and they actually wanted government to move slowly. And so instead of making decisions on an emotional basis, they really wanted it so there was open dialogue. They wanted to actually have, they wanted it to be full consensus before anything was done. So tying that into camp and camp life, we know that we're not perfect, but the idea is to make us all a little bit more perfect than we were the day before. In addition, it's not about just a few people in a bunk making decisions, stuff like that, but having that full consensus. Because the Founding Fathers knew that would be the best way to have a strong nation. That's the best way for us to be a strong community. So, as is tradition, we've got a couple of speakers here, as we always do, a camper address, a counselor address, then we have a overseas perspective. So.
Hi, my name is Mason Stern. This is my 8th year at camp, and I'm an Okie. Before I begin, I would like to thank Jeff, Warren, Neil, Bob, Harrison, Hank, and Jane for giving me opportunities like this since I was a little crow in 2016. In the late 1700s, the 13 colonies united to sign the Declaration of Independence. The Second Continental Congress unanimously agreed to officially announce their separation from Great Britain. At the end of every school year, I leave my home friends and family behind and travel 140 miles north to reunite with the brotherhood that we've formed over the last 8 years. To me, 4th of July is a day for togetherness. The day always starts with bunk photos and videos to commemorate our time together. When I was in warrior camp, Crows and Hawks marched down the causeway in Naples, followed by a ride back to camp on the Songo River Queen. As I got older, the Eagles would always have an iconic beach party with Shad filled with sandcastle competitions, dance-offs, and popsicles. Like this evening, the camp comes together to listen to the importance of 4th of July from the different perspectives of our TACO family. Then finally, the day culminates with fireworks, which we will see later this evening. No matter the activity, the camp comes together as one to celebrate independence. This term independence is beneficial for us campers because at camp we have to learn to make our own beds, make our own decisions, and brush our own teeth without any reminders. July 4th is one of the only holidays where us campers spend away from home. When you think of holiday traditions, you normally think of family time. Whether it's a dinner or a game, there is often an aspect of family involved in celebrations. But when I think of July 4th, I think of my second family, Okie's 23. As an Okie, I have my own family involving the younger campers. Shout out Jesse, Leo, and Zach. Although we have only met as a family a couple times, I'm excited to expand our personal independence together. Togetherness is not only shown at this camp on July 4th, but throughout the entire camp. The most memorable time was last year. 7 other campers, 5 counselors, and I set out on a canoeing trip on the St. Croix River. Although I had it easy canoeing with Alex Brown, it was a physically and mentally draining 5 days. We cooked our own food, went to the bathroom in the middle of the woods, and hardest of all, we had to canoe through 35 miles filled with stage 2, 3, and 4 rapids. Occasionally, we would get down on ourselves, but the thing that got us through the rigorous 5 days was togetherness. We picked each other up when we were down, we helped each other when we were putting up tents in the dark, and gave each other space when needed. This is what July 4th means to me, togetherness. All in all, I am sad that this is my last time I will be able to spend July 4th at camp, because next year, us Okies will be home celebrating with our families. I will never forget how it feels to spend this holiday the real way. So, when all of you guys are Okies, never forget that this holiday is meant to be spent away from home with your friends. With that being said, on behalf of all the Okies, happy 4th of July.
Alright, good evening. For those who don't know me, my name's Annie Brisbane Brown. It's my 7th summer at camp. First of all, I want to thank Jeff and Warren and the rest of administration for giving me this opportunity to say a few words, but also for continuously showering me with kindness and friendliness over the last 7 years and always welcoming me into the TACO family. Takajo has become my second home and my safe haven from the outside world. I also just want to briefly thank Luis for bringing me to camp 7 years ago. Without his invitation to join him at Takajo, my life would not be where it is, as it is now. When I reflect on what it means to be an American, especially on the first word that comes to mind for me is the word freedom. Our founding fathers came together 247 years ago to establish a nation based on freedom after suffering from oppression. After those last 2.5 centuries, our government continually works to provide freedoms for its citizens. And the meaning of freedom is a compelling word. It means the power to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. So something so simple has so much power behind it. As we sit here tonight, we come together as a whole camp, surrounded and intertwined with a group of diverse people. We're lucky this year that the group of staff and campers were given the freedom to come to camp. As Americans, some of our freedoms are simple and forgotten. Things that we view as simple, such as the right to vote, the right to love, or the right to work. There are countless people that work tirelessly to get those freedoms that we are granted as Americans. Over the last 3 years, I witnessed firsthand the privilege that I had of being an American and what some have to go through just to live in the country. Even as I traveled across the world, I never had to put in as much paperwork as my husband Alex has, and jumped through as many hoops as he has. Just to get his residency, he now has the freedom to work, something that I never even considered a freedom. I've loved coming and spending my summers at Takajo and seeing the diversity of people and cultures that we have every year. We're privileged to be surrounded by not only international staff, but campers from all over the world as well. We are lucky to come together every year and learn from all the different cultures. Being an American at camp on the 4th, we are frequently reminded that this day is to celebrate the freedoms we are blessed with that so many others worldwide and in our own country do not have. It is essential that we take advantage of our freedoms while accepting and loving those that are different from us. Here we're thrown into a bubble with such a diverse group of people, and we are given an advantage of learning how to accept and love people who are different from us. At camp, you will make the best of friends from the opposite ends of the world, and these relationships will last you a lifetime, as I have learned year after year. I highly encourage everyone to take some time this summer to truly get to know a counselor or camper who comes from a different country than you and learn about their different experiences. By you having this experience, you become a better citizen of America and an even better citizen of the world. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Alex Brisbane Brown, and this is my 10th year at Takajo and my 3rd year living in America full time. I'm giving my views on the 4th of July from an international perspective. I feel like I am in a very privileged position to talk about this, as I have grown up in England and looking at America from an outside point of view, but now I am living in America as a permanent resident. Before I start this speech, I want to thank Jeff, Warren, Bob, Neil and the rest of the admin staff, not only for the opportunity to give this speech, but also the opportunity they have given me and my friends over the years. When you think about America, one of the first things that comes to my mind is the land of the opportunity. The opportunity to learn, grow, develop, travel, experience a different way of life as well as live a full life. I know I can get all this back in England, but America is 40 times bigger than England. There are states bigger than England. So that's 40 times more opportunities that could present themselves. At the beginning of the year, Annie and I drove up to Tennessee from Florida to visit her family to celebrate her mum's birthday. The sat-nav, or here in America, the GPS, said follow this road for 380 miles. That's the length of England. So I was shocked that we were literally travelling the length of England to go visit her mum for the weekend. In England, we would never think of doing that. Over the last 10 years, coming to America, coming to Takajo, has given me plenty of different opportunities to do things that I never would have believed possible, like canoe the St. Croix River 4 times, visit 20 states, see a lumberjack show, go lobster fishing, hiking Angel's Landing in Utah, and most importantly, eating a fluffernutter sandwich. The most important opportunity that came from coming to America is to meet my best friends and meet my beautiful wife. I remember a few years ago, Annie and I were coming into the States from travelling abroad, and I was sitting in a hotel room flicking through all my paperwork and different documentation to make sure I had everything in order, ready to go through immigration without a hassle. She looked at me and she was so surprised how much we go through to get into the country. The paperwork, the fingerprints, the interviews, the continuous back and forwards just to enter one country. But I will happily jump through all those hoops to keep coming back to this wonderful country. A country that has provided me with lots of different opportunities to live my life to the max. A country that has provided me, Annie, and all of our friends different opportunities to not only travel here in the US, but also travel the world globally. For example, I have visited people from Takajo in over 7 different countries. In England, when it comes to the 4th of July, we see this as a day as we finally got rid of that annoying country that no one wanted. I'm joking. But in America, it's a day of great celebration, a day of coming together, a day to spend with your friends and family. I have only ever celebrated the 4th of July here at camp, where we are surrounded by so many different walks of life. As an Englishman, the 4th of July has always been an interesting day for me, listening to all the American campers and counselors talk about being back-to-back world champions, how does it feel to have all that tea wasted in the Boston Harbor. But if you get past all these little jokes and comments, you get to the core of what 4th of July really means to people, the 4 F's, friends, family, food and fireworks. And this night, today, is definitely one of the nights that covers all 4. Friends. Here at camp you are surrounded by friends. Friends you have just met, friends you've had for years, friends from the same country, or friends from all over the world. Family. Your bunk is your family, your age group is your family, the department you work in is your family, especially the Okies who have been together all these years and leaving this summer as a band of brothers. Coming together today with your camp families, all the way from the Crows to the Okies, is another example of family. Food. Food is the American way of celebrating everything. Coming together to celebrate through food. Anyone who has celebrated a holiday here in America can picture exactly what I'm talking about. A table full of home-cooked food that different people have brought to the celebrations. And then last but not least, fireworks. I mean, come on, who doesn't love a good firework display? It's a rare moment in life that doesn't matter how old you are, it takes your breath away. So to end my speech, I challenge every camper and counsellor to take each opportunity that arises. If it's something you've never done before or something that you would never usually do, I challenge each and every one of you to leave this camp this summer having done something you haven't done before. Thank you and happy 4th of July.